Here we go. Welcome into the show. Happy Thursday, everybody. It is a 4th of July edition of the San Francisco 49ers Report right here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up here on the docket, just going to discuss the latest happenings around the Niners on this fine, beautiful, dandy July 4th of 2024. USA! USA! Coming up here on the show, latest Brandon Aiyuk buzz and a report from Mike Garafolo that I want to talk about with what he said this week on NFL Network. Going to take a look at some Niners trade targets, and this list of players are contract extension candidates who the Niners could trade for if those players don't strike deals with their current teams. And then we'll round out the show with the mailbag. Let's hear from you, faithful. Use the hashtag 49ers, or better yet, send in a super chat. It's July 4th. I'm down to take down some beers out of the Freedom Funnel for America, and it's Independence Day. So speaking of that, where are you watching from? We're coming to you from Studio A in the Chat Sports Studios, but where are you? Let me know down in the comment section. We'll start to give you some shout-outs. Alicia, type in USA. Time in the Buckeye, type in USA. Tanyan, hey Chase Sr., how you doing? I'm doing great, even better that you're now here. Randall Beaver saying America. Timon is in Ohio. Ernesto, Tucson, Arizona. JJ's at the crib. Ken Dowsland, Tacoma, Washington. USA from Christopher Montgomery. Daniel Barry saying, yo! Illinois from Debo Prod. Bern, Indiana from Randall Beavers. North Carolina, USA from the 727. Christopher Montgomery saying America for life. Alan Hoxie, Los Angeles, California. Ian, Kansas City, Missouri. Scott, Emerald Triangle, California. Greg and Kelly, New York. Christopher, America. Down the street from Levi's Stadium, from John. Jorge from Rio Rico, Arizona. I see Bakersfield, California. Sheridan, Oregon. Branson, Missouri. We have people hanging out on this 4th of July from all across the globe. And as I mentioned off the rip, we are going to give you a Brandon Aiyuk update. Here's what Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network had to say, and I thought it was pretty interesting for a couple of reasons that we'll unpack here on the show. Is Aiyuk going to be with the 49ers long-term, or is he not going to be with the Niners long-term? Is he going to have to play out this year? He has alluded to the fact that he thinks he's going to be with the Niners in some time, some form or fashion in 2024, if not with the Commanders or with the Steelers. For Aiyuk and the Niners, they have had conversations recently. They are no closer to a deal from my understanding, but they are also no closer to a trade request. That's never been something that has been explored in this case. Besides, he's got to get back to work sometime before training camp to see if they can get something done. Obviously, just a couple of takeaways from that. It's a good sign that Aiyuk has not requested a trade. It's better than the alternative of him being annoyed, being irked, and requesting and demanding a trade out of San Francisco. With that, I do want to see what your opinions are on this question here. Who has had a more dramatic offseason in search of a contract? Has it been the Deebo Samuel controversy in search of a new deal? Or Brandon Aiyuk? Type BA for Brandon Aiyuk or DS for Deebo Samuel. What do you think here? Because both have taken to social media. They have tried to use Twitter and Instagram for leverage. You actually had Deebo Samuel requesting a trade, whereas Aiyuk has not. So what do you think? And I want you to eliminate recency bias here if you can. Lufus said Aiyuk. Jaheim said Aiyuk. Trace Aiyuk. Ernesto, Allen, and Lucero Aiyuk. Ian Aiyuk. Timon said Aiyuk. I don't see one vote for Deebo Samuel yet. Tanyan saying, listen, stop attacking him and pay the man. I don't think the Niners are attacking him by any means. But Chip, nobody's saying Deebo Samuel. I actually disagree with the people. I think Deebo's offseason was a little bit more tumultuous.
Yeah, I get it, though. Just, again, you said no recency bias. I think it's playing a factor right now.
Yeah.
And the way it's playing it on social media, similar to Deebo's situation. But I think just because it's happening right now, everyone's going Aiyuk. And the money with Aiyuk as well, a big talking point. That they're both, very dramatic, very contentious.
Yeah.
Aiyuk, going back and forth on social media, the Jaden Daniels stuff. It's certainly a lot.
Yeah. Our question in the chat, did you like the video? Yes, I'm a real one, 93%. No, I'm lame, 7%. Now, we have gotten 101 votes so far, but only 38 likes. Are the people lying to me? Stop lying to me and hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. More likes that we get, the more people who will find the stream. Come in here, and the more fun that we will have on this 4th of July edition of the Niners Report. Speaking of having some fun, let's do it. I'm ready to go. This is for Chip and I, our Friday. We worked on Sunday, and we've been grinding all week because of NBA free agency. If you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors, I do host Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports, so I've been busy there, busy talking Sixers, busy talking NBA. So we want to let loose a little bit before we go to Trizzy Trace's house a little bit later for an epic fireworks display. So let's get the drinks flowing a little bit. $5, I'll give you an American beer cheers and take a beer sip out of the Freedom Funnel here. $10, I'll take a chug out of the Freedom Funnel. $20, Chip will take a shot. $50, a shotgun or a beer bong. And if anybody sends in a $100 super chat, I'm doing a beer boot. We will round things out with a mailbag, so make sure if you have a question, you have a hot take, you have something to say, you use the hashtag 49ers or you send in a super chat. And if you're ready to talk some Bang Bang Niner gang, I need everybody watching right now to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. I'm going to change the poll question here, and I want to see if our answers are a little bit different. So, whose offseason was more dramatic in search of a contract? And it's going to be a choice between Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk.
Just based off the chat, this could be like 95-5. But we will see.
Yeah, sometimes the poll question is different from the chat. So the new poll question is up. Whose offseason was more dramatic in searching for a new deal? Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel? We'll revisit that here in just a couple of minutes down the road. Make sure you continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. 43 likes away from 100. Smash that thumbs up icon. We are going to begin with the latest update on Brandon Aiyuk from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. That is going to be segment number 1. Segment number 2, some Niners trade targets, contract extension candidates across the NFL who the Niners could trade for, and then we will round the show out with a mailbag. It's a beautiful 4th of July with all of my beautiful people in the beautiful studio A of Chat Sports. Let's get the show going right now. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Hope you're all enjoying your holiday and you're having a fantastic week as you get set for the weekend. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest on Brandon Aiyuk. According to Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, the Niners and Aiyuk no closer to a contract with training camp coming up on July 23rd. I first want to start off with this poll question here. You had Deebo Samuel during the 2022 offseason who was looking for a new deal, and now modern day as Brandon Aiyuk is also looking for a contract. So who had the more dramatic offseason in looking for a bag? Was it Deebo Samuel type DS or was it Brandon Aiyuk type BA? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Here's the latest on Brandon Aiyuk. And throughout this offseason, we have heard from a bunch of different NFL insiders as far as the latest on the Aiyuk front. Adam Schefter of ESPN, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, Mike Silver on the local front for the San Francisco Chronicle, and then Mike Garafolo, also of the NFL Network. And for the crowd that says, Chase, find something else to talk about. This is ridiculous. You're beating this into the ground. Let us know when Aiyuk actually signs. Well, when he actually signs, I will. But we also talk about different things here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Check the receipts, look at the channel history. Also on top of that, though, it's a huge story that we have to discuss here on the Niners front because this is pivotal for now and in the future as far as the importance that Aiyuk has for this offense and the importance that he plays for the future of this organization. And this offseason alone, look at what Brandon Aiyuk has stirred up. His friend first said after the Super Bowl loss to Kansas City, he's going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. Then his girlfriend said that his Niners tenure could be over. Aiyuk tweeted directly at Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. He took to Instagram to put up some subtle stories from time to time. He said on TikTok with Jaden Daniels, the Commanders quarterback, that the Niners don't want him any longer. And then on the Pivot podcast, with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor, he name-dropped specifically the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders as two teams he would like to get traded to if he can't get a deal done with the San Francisco 49ers. It's not like he's remained quiet this offseason, so Brandon Aiyuk has caused some of these talking points. He's made me continue to talk about him. As for the latest on Aiyuk, here's what Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network said. Is Aiyuk going to be with the Niners long term, or is he not going to be with the Niners long term? That's the big question. Is he going to have to play out this year? He has alluded to the fact that he thinks he's going to be with the Niners in some form or fashion in 2024. If not, with the Commanders or with the Steelers. For Aiyuk and the Niners, they had conversations recently. They are no closer to a deal from my understanding, but they are also no closer to a trade request. That's never been something that he has explored in this case. Besides, he's got to get back to work sometime before training camp to see if they can get something done. A couple of takeaways from that. It's, of course, good that there's been no trade request and both sides have an amicable relationship and they've maintained some communication. That beats the alternative here of a player being irked. A player demanding or requesting a trade, a player not talking to the team and wanting out. Remember, I disagree with the Niners' strategy of waiting to pay some of their players because they risk the marketplace going up. And in this case, this offseason, the wide receiver market has exploded. But there is still time to get a deal done because you look at the Niners' history here of when they have handed out contract extensions, and literally we're in the fifth straight offseason of this. Back in 2020, George Kittle signed his record-breaking deal. Highest paid contract for a tight end in NFL history, and that deal was not struck until August 13th of 2020. The following offseason, not a lot of drama with Fred Warner, but he became the highest paid off-ball linebacker in the NFL on July 21st of 2021. Deebo Samuel got his deal done after he was a hold-in at training camp on July 31st of 2022. And then Nick Bosa took the longest because of all of the money at play as he became the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of football, and he originally did not report to training camp and then got a deal done just a couple of days before the season opener on September 6th of 2023. The Niners do not start training camp until the 23rd later this month, so that is the timeline for when I expect the deal to get done, and there is still time to get that deal done. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way, because when and if an Aiyuk extension happens, we're going to discuss it right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. And while we're here, I want to say thank you to the faithful. We surpassed 134,000 subscribers right here on this channel. We're the largest independently run Niners channel on YouTube. So if you're looking for shows every single day that are entertaining, informative, insightful, that involve you, hit that sub button, San Francisco. To the next portion of this conversation, is Brandon Aiyuk frustrated with how things have gone this offseason as he looks for a new deal and he's looking at this wide receiver market exploding? Other wideouts at his position who are lesser players than him are getting paid, and Aiyuk has not secured the bag yet. It's easy to see why he would feel that way. He wants to be a Niner. He wants to get a bag. Other receivers are getting paid lucrative contracts, and Aiyuk's looking around saying, not only am I not getting a deal when other players at my position are getting paid, but some of my teammates with the 49ers are getting new contracts and they're not as good as me. They haven't been as valuable as me. But I do have an issue with the stance that Aiyuk is taking in saying that he feels disrespected when some of these Aiyuk contract offers have been made public. Because Brandon Aiyuk has made things public a lot this offseason, and those around him have made things public. His best friend saying that Aiyuk is going to be a Raider, his girlfriend saying that his days with the Niners could be over, him directly tweeting at Mike Tomlin, him taking to social media to voice his frustration, saying on TikTok the Niners don't want him any longer. Then he made things public by going on the Pivot podcast. So there's been some chatter that Aiyuk doesn't like how things have kind of transpired, and then he made that public on the Pivot podcast. Albert Breer reported recently that the Niners have been in that $26 million per year range in their offer for Aiyuk, and Aiyuk said it's frustrating that those numbers have been leaked, and he alluded to those leaks as disrespectful, which I just noted. And I take issue with this because it's an LOL laugh out loud moment for me. Aiyuk can pull off all of these social media shenanigans, and it's all good, right? But then the Niners let their offer be known, and they leaked that to reporters. They do their job in reporting that, and Aiyuk's like, I don't like that. That's disrespectful. But Aiyuk has caused some of this drama by himself. And I get that Aiyuk is trying to get paid. He deserves it. Last year, he was a top 10 wide receiver in the game, a second-team All-Pro, who every year that he's been in the NFL has gotten better and better and better and better. But just like relationships and relationship problems, when oftentimes it's both sides who are to blame, this is also a two-way street where Aiyuk is to blame and the Niners are to blame. And hopefully they can iron things out and at some point get a deal done, because it's best for both parties for that to happen. As for what Aiyuk said about these contract negotiations, he admitted it's a dirty game. And he recognized it's a dirty game. He said that directly. He also said, so I just feel like for me, social media is a way for myself to leverage me and my team, to leverage myself and to leverage what I've been trying to get, because that's the way to get the message out there. That's the way to get the facts out there, and the facts are the facts. If the Niners do hold firm on that $26 million per year number, a big question for a lot of people unfamiliar with the situation, where does that rank Aiyuk among other wide receivers? Pretty damn good. He would still be a top 7 or 8 wide receiver in the National Football League, depending on how big that deal would be. Now, Aiyuk might want around $30 million because he saw Justin Jefferson get $35 million in average annual value, but Aiyuk is not the player of Justin Jefferson. He's not the player of A.J. Brown. He might be more well-rounded, though, than Tyreek Hill, so he can make that argument at the negotiating table. He could say, look, I haven't gotten the targets of Amon-Ra St. Brown, but if I did, my production would be better, and I should be getting $30 million per year like the Detroit Lions all-pro wide receiver. I just don't get as many ample opportunities because we're a run-heavy offense. I think that Aiyuk is better than Jalen Waddle, which is why I think personally the Niners should give Aiyuk about $28 million per year, and if that were the case, I think a deal gets done. But then you look at that next tier, Devontae Adams' deal is outdated. He's worth more than $28 million, even at his age. Cooper Kupp is probably worth more than $26.7 with what he's meant to that Rams offense. Aiyuk is better than Devontae Smith in my estimation, and Smith is making $25 million per season. And then Nico Collins at $24.25 and DK Metcalf at $24 even. Guaranteed money, of course, is also going to play a role in this conversation too. And I'm interested to see how much Aiyuk gets. Now, in average annual value, he's going to overtake Deebo Samuel, who's right around that $24 million per year number. And in guaranteed money, you see Deebo Samuel making the 10th most money as far as guaranteed cash among all wide receivers. And Aiyuk has been better, more durable, more consistent, more productive, and healthier. He's also the younger player than Deebo Samuel. So yes, he should make more in guaranteed money and more in average annual value. I'm fascinated to see if the Niners are willing to go up from their price or if Aiyuk is willing to go down. Still got a couple of weeks, I think, until this deal gets done. How much will Aiyuk get paid per year by the San Francisco 49ers? Let me know down in the comment section right now. That is the big question. Oh! Brian Redman, a $100 super chat and a San Francisco. Everybody type BR in the chat. We'll show you the super chat menu because that means I either have to do a beer bong or a shotgun. No, I said actually a beer boot for a $100 super chat. So $100 coming in from Brian, and he is a first time super chatter. So I will do a beer boot for Brian on this 4th of July to get the juices flowing early. Here's our super chat menu. $5, an American beer cheers out of the Freedom Funnel. $10, an American beer chug out of the Freedom Funnel. $20, Chip will take a shot. $50, I'm doing a shotgun or a beer bong. And $100, I'm doing a beer boot. So I will do that beer boot thanks to Brian Redman sending in a $100 super chat for his first ever super.
That's crazy.
Really appreciate that, my brother. Hopefully you're still here. If you are, let us know down in the comment section because we will certainly celebrate that.
Just to casually roll in here?
Yes, no doubt.
First time or just $100?
That is an entrance, as Tyler Jones just said in the Chat Sports bullpen. 150 people watching live, 82 likes. Continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's get the stream to 100 likes right now. Dennis, Angelo, 916, all typing Brian down in the comment section. Jesse Wade said BR, Brian Redman, over BA all day, baby. Well, we certainly appreciate that donation. That is for sure. We are going to do a mailbag segment number 3. Use the hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat. That's hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat. That'll be segment number 3, so you can start to get those questions in right now. And after our mailbag, I will do a beer boot for Brian, who sent in that Benjamin Franklin.
Let's go, baby. The Benjamin Franklin on 4th of July?
I love it. I love it. I love it. 14 likes away from 100. We certainly appreciate your support. Okay, segment number 2. Some Niners trade targets who are players who are contract extension candidates. So if they can't reach deals with their respective teams, could the Niners trade for these players? A little bit of a different show, but one that I'm very excited about here on the program. Tanyan said, what's your Cash App? I'll send $5 if I could talk. So I don't have Cash App. I do have Venmo. It's at Chase_Senior. So if you do have a Venmo, you can send it there. And we'll, of course, give you a beer cheers. All right, segment number 2. Let's get to it right here, live on the Niners Report. All right, let's do this thing. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are enjoying your 4th of July weekends. And coming up here on the show, some Niners trade targets. And we're going to take a look at players who are contract extension candidates with other teams. And if they don't get deals done with their respective squads, could the Niners trade for those players? A little bit of a different show, but one I'm excited to get to here on the 49ers Report. First, I want to take a look at our July rival sub-battle. Which channel could pick up the most subscribers during this month? Since July 1, the Cowboys Report is in the lead, 61 subscribers picked up. We're in second place with 27 new subscribers. Welcome to the show, my real ones. Seahawks today in third place with 15 new subs. Here's the deal. We can overtake the Cowboys. We can distance ourselves from the Seahawks if you just hit that sub button right now. And at the end of the day, you're a winner because you get free Niners shows every single day from yours truly. We really appreciate your support as we're on the road to 135,000 subscribers. As for where the Niners sit currently on the cap, San Francisco sitting pretty, at least as of right now. $31.4 million in cap space per over the cap. 6th most in the National Football League. They're in a good spot now, not in a great spot in the future. In 2025 currently, the Niners are $38.9 million over the cap. Cap space can be rolled over. So the Niners could just sit idly with this money here, roll it over to next year, and they could make that cap situation a lot better. There are also other ways to ease the financial situation and the financial burden in 2025. And these are just a couple of avenues in order to do that. You could pull off trades. You could cut players. You could pull off salary cap gymnastics. You could give contract extensions to some of your own players. You could give players guaranteed money, and that's a way to massage the cap as well. You could also use that cap space right now to make your team better, to try to chase that Super Bowl and get over the hump to get that 6th Lombardi trophy, which the Niners have not been able to win a Super Bowl since 1994. The Niners' positions of need. There are a couple of them, even though I still think San Francisco has arguably the best and most talented roster in the NFL. Center, right guard, right tackle. 3/5 of the offensive line. If you're a real one, you watch the show, you know that I've criticized the strategy behind the Niners' approach to the offensive line. They could get better there. 3/5 of it, a little bit questionable. Edge rusher depth and defensive tackle depth, other positions of need, in addition to safety, partially because of Talanoa Hufanga coming off that torn ACL, and tight end 2 behind George Kittle. We'll see if Logan Thomas can fill that role. So with that, we take a look at some of these contract extension candidates who might not land deals with their teams, and they might become trade targets for the Niners. We know that San Francisco has a revolving door at right tackle with Colton McKivitz holding it down on that right side or not being able to hold it down. So I want to take a look here at Bills right tackle Spencer Brown, and The Athletic had a snippet on Spencer Brown saying this: one of the few question marks heading into last year was whether the 2021 third-round pick could fulfill his promise after a rocky sophomore campaign. Brown answered with authority, playing every single one of Buffalo's 1,305 snaps. Pro Football Focus charted him for only 2 more pressures than Pro Bowl left tackle Deion Dawkins. Brown now enters the final year of his rookie contract. The Bills will have significant cap space next year after receiver Stephon Diggs' dead money clears. But they can save a lot by extending Brown in the next few months and not letting him get close enough to free agency to get curious about testing the open market. Or there could be a situation in which the Bills want to get some value back for a player they don't envision keeping, and they could trade him for either some player or draft capital. Brown in 2023 certainly rebounding from that aforementioned rocky season 2 years ago. Snaps at right tackle, 1,157. So the familiarity with right tackle, important for this conversation. He gave up 5 sacks, surrendered 5 hits, had 9 penalties. 40 pressures, not a great number, because when you flip the page, you look at Colton McKivitz here. He gave up 47 pressures of Brock Purdy last year on more than 1,000 snaps, 573 of those pass blocking snaps. McKivitz also gave up 9 sacks, so that's more than Brown, and then 4 hits. Player number 2 who I want to talk about here is a really good defensive tackle who simply might be on the outside looking in because of all of the money that the Lions have spent in keeping some of their own players on their roster. That's Lions defensive tackle Alim McNeill, who last year in 2023 was a really good player along the interior defensive line, had an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 88.5, run defense grade of 79.3, pass rush grade of 76.2, 5 sacks, 24 hurries, and 34 pressures. Really solid player who can make some good dough in a contract year. Here's what The Athletic had to say about McNeill. The Lions just dished out $444 million to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, and Jared Goff this offseason. But there's another extension candidate worth watching. That would be McNeill, a 4th-year defensive tackle coming off his best year. He turned 24 in May, and his best football is ahead of him entering the final year of his rookie deal. He was a disruptive force against the run and as a pass rusher when healthy, and the signing of space-eating nose tackle DJ Reader should bring out the best in McNeill. McNeill will be due a big payday if it all comes together in year 4. How much he ultimately gets could determine what's available for other free agents like Taylor Decker and Carlton Davis, to name a few. Let me also name another contract extension candidate in the not-too-distant future for Detroit, and that's Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson is a really solid homegrown player who's probably going to have to be given an extension at some point in the foreseeable future. Now, the Niners certainly remade their defensive line this offseason, but the depth there is a little bit of a concern, and it's going to be a new-look defensive line after the additions of Malik Collins, who takes over for Arik Armstead. Javon Hargrave hopefully rebounds from somewhat of a lackluster 2023 campaign, and then Leonard Floyd steps in for Chase Young and Cleveland Ferrell. But the backup defensive tackle spot, the Niners signed Jordan Elliott, who was good against the run last year for Cleveland. But then how about the other depth pieces at defensive tackle? Kevin Givens is what he is. Kalia Davis hasn't been able to stay healthy. And you have T.Y. McGill. Aleem McNeil, my goodness, you would just have an embarrassment of riches at that point. A more realistic deal than Aleem McNeil is Colts tight end Mo Alley-Cox, a really good athlete. And Logan Thomas has been a productive player. He's an athletic freak, but he's also been banged up over the last couple of years. Mo Alley-Cox, 6'5", 267. He went to VCU, kind of a diamond in the rough prospect coming out of VCU as a former Hooper. 13 catches last year for 161 yards, 3 touchdowns along a 35. You've seen some glimpses of him displaying that athletic talent. He can block a little bit. He can climb the ladder, go up and get it. And if you're not sure about the tight end depth behind George Kittle, who is a first-team All-Pro, I don't know if it would cost all that much money to try to make a trade for Mo Alley-Cox. Here's what The Athletic had to say about him. He's 30, entering the final year of a 3-year extension that he signed in 2022. The veteran tight end due $5.9 million in 2024, but the Colts could cut him before the season and free up that total in cap space. Indy signed Alley-Cox as an undrafted free agent in 2017. He's become a mainstay in the tight end room over the years. However, the Colts still lack a true number one option at that position, with Jelani Woods returning to form, as well as Kylan Granson, Will Mallory, and Drew Ogletree all being in the mix. It's fair to wonder if Indy will lean toward a younger and cheaper player to assume Alley-Cox's role in the offense. So for the Niners here, you could either pull off a trade or you could wait to see if he does get cut, and then you scoop him up following that. Let's now go to the defensive side of the football with Jaguar safety Andre Cisco. The Jags, another team that this offseason has handed out some money. And the Niners a little bit thin at that safety position. I don't think they're going to bring back Deshaun Gibson because he's been suspended 6 games for violating the league's PED policy. And I didn't even think that the Niners were going to bring him back just because of the age, but because of the health concerns with Talanoa Hufanga, you wonder, with the backup options being George Odom, a special teamer, Malik Mustafa, a rookie, if the Niners are going to make a move here. And if they do, would they go the route of Andre Cisco? Overall Pro Football Focus grade last year of 68.9, run defense grade of 66.1. So he's a pretty well-rounded player. Not really a big pass rusher, the grade there, 56.7, but in coverage, that's what I care about. He passed the test, 71.5, only allowed a passer rating when targeted of 83.9, and he has a knack for making plays on the football, 4 picks, and I think that he could be had for a somewhat affordable price. The Athletic on Cisco here, the Jags already have the big ones out of the way with Trevor Lawrence, linebacker Josh Allen, so Cisco is the one to watch. He's just 24 years old. He's an ascending player who could be on the verge of a true breakout year in his contract year. Now, after a rough offseason for the safety market, there's added intrigue with how teams will choose to pay their safeties, which adds mystery to Cisco's situation. To the offensive line here, once again, Chiefs guard Trey Smith. Really solid player for Kansas City. And following that Super Bowl defeat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Chiefs really took an emphasis to protecting Patrick Mahomes because the Buccaneers that year set the record for the most quarterback hits and pressures on a quarterback in Super Bowl history, and Trey Smith has been a part of that offensive line, becoming a really good unit to protect Mahomes. In 2023, really good player. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 72.2, pass blocking grade of 65.7, run blocking grade of 74 flat. He did give up 34 pressures, 5 hits, 2 sacks allowed, 8 penalties. Played all of his snaps at right guard, which is a little bit of a question mark for San Francisco, 1,085 snaps there. Along the offensive line for the Niners, I am high on Dominic Puni, the third-round pick out of Kansas, and I'm a fan of his, but keep in mind that as you look into the future, Aaron Banks will be a 2025 free agent. So was the Niners' plan to draft Puni to be his future replacement, to fill in at right guard? We'll see what happens during training camp. The Athletic on Smith. The Chiefs have one of the best trios of the interior offensive line in the league with Creed Humphrey, left guard Joe Thuney, and then Smith. But this upcoming season could be their final season together. Smith entering the last year of his rookie deal. The Chiefs, understandably, could prioritize retaining Humphrey and linebacker Nick Bolton over Smith, similar to the team re-signing pass rusher Chris Jones over cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. If Smith excels this year with consistent production while limiting his penalties, he could be the top free agent at his position next year, potentially earning an average annual value of more than $20 million. By this point, we kind of know what the Niners team building strategy is, right? They don't like to pay big money along the offensive line. They prioritize giving and handing out checks to players who score touchdowns. I get it. I just think this Niners team could be so much more dangerous with a better offensive line. Sticking with the offensive line, what if the Niners wanted to get a right tackle now who could take over for Trent Williams in the future? We've talked about Tristan Wirfs on this show as a dream candidate for me. Chargers offensive tackle Rashawn Slater, also a really good player. Last year, Pro Football Focus grade of 76.6, just a tremendous elite pass blocking grade of 84.7. What I don't understand is how he grades out poorly as a run blocker, only a 59.5 grade there. I think that he could get better in that regard. And in Kyle Shanahan's offense, you want to see a player be better in that area. Committed 8 penalties, only gave up 3 sacks, though 7 hits, 38 pressures. All of his snaps at left tackle, but he can play both. The Athletic on Slater here as the Chargers enter a scenario in which they have to make a decision on this front because Slater became eligible for an extension at the end of last year. The Chargers picked up his 5th-year option in May, meaning he's under contract for 2025. He's an elite tackle. The price for that position only going up. Lions tackle Penei Sewell, drafted 6 spots ahead of Slater in the first round, signed for $28 million in average annual value earlier this offseason. The smart approach is always signing good players early. Will the Chargers wait to see Slater play in the new offense under Jim Harbaugh before committing long-term? Of note, we know that Jim Harbaugh values the offensive line. I love what he said this offseason. He said football teams and the success of them are more dependent on the offensive line having cohesion and playing well than any other unit because all 5 members of the offensive line really have to bring it and have that communication and play solidly, snap in, snap out, because if they have a communication breakdown, a play gets blown up. Now, the Niners have to start planning for the post-Trent Williams era unless Trent Williams says, I feel good, I want to play for X amount of future years, and then the Niners can maybe work out a restructured deal with him, an extension. Either way, Niners have to get better on the trenches and in the trenches. Lastly, let's talk about Cardinals safety Budda Baker. For the same reasons that I said the Niners could target a safety for Andre Cisco, they could do the same thing with Budda Baker, who's on an expiring deal. Budda Baker is a Swiss Army knife. He can play all around the field, a multi-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro, a really special, versatile player who makes big-time plays down in, down out. Here's what The Athletic had to say about Budda Baker. A lot of people familiar with him inside the NFC West. There's no mistaking the heart and soul of the Cardinals. It's Budda Baker. He's been an organizational fixture since he was drafted in 2017, a 6-time Pro Bowler. When healthy, he's still among the best at his position, a force on the field, respected voice in the locker room, and he's only 28. With Baker becoming an unrestricted free agent at the end of 2024, his status in the desert will become a key storyline. Baker, with the base salary of $14.2 million, said during OTAs he wants to be a Cardinal, but understands it's a business. So he understands it's a business. That means that he's open for business as far as going to another team. So some trade candidates there for San Francisco. Which player should the Niners trade for on that list? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that sub button. Another super chat coming in from No Santana. If Brandon Aiyuk doesn't sign, where does he end up? Well, if he had his choice, no. He said the Washington Commanders or the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said that specifically last week on the Pivot podcast. So those are two teams that he's already kind of eyed up already. No, since you sent in a $2 super chat and it's 4th of July, I'm giving you a beer cheers out of the Freedom Funnel because America. America! F yeah!
America!
And for the $100 super chat we got from Brian Redmond, I am going to do a beer boot at the end of segment number 3. If somebody else sends in a $50 super chat or a $100 super chat, I'm going to do my beer boot, and then I'm also going to shotgun. So let's get it popping here on this 4th of July. A big day to party, a big day to drink. Dwayne Witherspoon, what it do, Chase? What it do, my brother? What it do? Chip, how we doing on questions?
Let's see.
Mailbag coming up next. Get those questions in. Hashtag 49ers or Super Chat.
We need some questions, people. Let's get it going.
How many questions do we have?
We got 3, and
three questions.
2 of them are from Trace.
2 of them from Trace. Come on now. Use the hashtag 49ers. Send in a Super Chat. If you don't send in any questions, we just won't do our mailbag.
Let's go, people.
How about this? We'll buy you some time to get your questions in. Chip, I'm just going to get the beer boot ready.
Why not?
I'm going to get the beer boot ready. That gives you time to get those questions in. Use the hashtag 49ers. Why do you call yourself senior from Fred? Do you mean senor? Well, my last name is Senior. That's why I am Chase Senior. And to answer your question before you ask the inevitable next question, no, I do not have a son named Chase, and he is not Chase Senior Jr., and I am not Chase Senior Senior. And no, whenever I do have a son, and hopefully I do, I will not name him Chase because then he will get bullied for his entire upbringing. So Fred, yes, that is my last name. All right, I'm going to put up Chip. I'm going to get the beer boot ready, and then I'll be right back. Get your questions in. Don't be a fraud.
Get those questions in. Hashtag 49ers. You can see it on the screen right now, baby. Chase, Tangen Zhao says he sent you a 5 on Venmo. Wants to see if you got it.
TJ, $5 Venmo.
Let's go.
A beer cheers when I come back. A beer cheers when I come back.
Shout out to TJ. Tangen, is that how you say it? I hope I'm saying that right. Tangen. If someone sends in a 50 right now, I'll do a beer bong as well. It's the 4th of July, man. Tanjan. Gotcha. 50 right now. I'm sending one back. For America, baby. For America. Did anybody watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest today? No Joey Chestnut, man. Very weird. And they were trying to say it had a lot of juice because it was close. It was close because there was no Joey Chestnut. That's why it was close. Jesse Wade getting a question in there. Be like Jesse, man. Use that hashtag, get those questions in. If you have a hot take, whatever you got. I can't watch it. It made my stomach hurt. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty gross. When they go close up and you see these people stuffing their mouth with soggy hot dog bun and then the actual hot dogs, man, it's pretty disgusting. But it's electric. It's American, man. It's what we're all about. Big asterisks, though, on the winner. Yeah, exactly, Jesse. Big asterisks. No Joey Chestnut. Yeah, I guess you won, but we all know who would have won. Fred says, happy 4th, going to get a hot dog. If you're not eating a hot dog today, you might not be a true American. I'm just going to tell you right now. Everybody better be out there downing some dogs. I know I will be. Pause.
Joey Chest Nut.
Oh, man.
All right. So we got to do. Oh! Timothy Lenoir Johnson, a $50 super chat and a San Francisco. I did say I would shotgun if somebody else sent in a 50 chip. We are 49 away from 200. What are you doing if we get there?
I'm doing a little beer. Although I will say, when you were gone, I did say if someone sent in a 50, I'd do it too.
Okay. Beer boot?
No. Beer bong.
Beer bong.
Beer
okay.
bong. Beer bong.
All right. So we had the beer boot ready. This is for our guy, Brian Redmond. $100 super chat. 3 beers, 1 boot, 4th of July. America! F yeah!
You know what, though? If someone sends in another 50 right now, I'll do a boot too. I'm doing a beer bong, but if someone sends in a 50, I'll make it a boot instead. As we got Chase taking this one down, already getting past the bubbles at the turn, on the home stretch, looking like Parker Valby running the 10K. Let's go. Chug, chug, chug. Oh my God. Taking it down. Little spillage never hurt nobody.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Timothy, what a guy. Let me let that beer boot settle, and then I'll do the shoddy after the mailbag.
Yeah, we can go shoddy. I'll go beer bong after the mailbag.
Let's go.
Tanjon, Chipper, can we talk? I have to get the Niners ADHD out of my chest. Well, this is your chance in this mailbag. This is your chance to get anything off your chest. Say what you want. Use hashtag 49ers. We'll get you in the video, and you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. All right, so if I'll give it till the end of the mailbag. If we get another 50 before the end of this upcoming mailbag, I will do a beer boot instead of a beer bong. Tangent, how do I hashtag? So if you just
shift hashtag, or if you're on your phone, hashtag 49ers.
It's shift 3 if you're on computer. You just type it in just like this, and then ask a question.
That's what it is.
So just like I did right there, just use that hashtag. Yeah, it's the $. Anywhere in that question. But make sure it's all in the same comment, and don't put a space between the hashtag and the 4. Just do exactly what I did right there. All right, we have a few questions now. Let's see.
As Jesse Wade said, it's the $.
Exactly.
It's the $. We good on questions?
Yeah, we should be straight.
All right.
Oh, we have a few on Moody. People are asking about Jake Moody.
Ooh, Jake Moody. Do the people want him cut? We'll see what they have to say coming up here in a second.
All right. Let's go.
We ready to rock? All right, let's get it. Tanyan using the hashtag 49ers. I see you. I see you. Mailbag coming up. If we get to 200 in supers, we're going to continue the party. We're 49 away. I'm already doing a shotgun after the beer boot. Thanks to Timothy Lenoir Johnson. Segment number 3 coming up right now. Let's get it. Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, I'm Chase Senior. We're going to open up the floor and do another mailbag segment here on the show as we hear from our loyal subscribers, our viewers, and our real ones. You have questions, I have answers. It's also an opportunity for you to share your football analysis, to share a hot take here on the show for thousands of people to see. First, I do want to say thank you to the faithful for supporting the show. This week, we surpassed 134,000 subscribers on the channel. To see the growth of the 49ers Report over the last couple of years as I enter year 4 as the host of this program has been incredible. I love talking Niners every single day. You make my job the best job in the world, and I mean that sincerely, so thank you so much. Let's start off here with this $50 super chat from Timothy Low World Johnson, certainly a big supporter of everything that we do. Can we sign Brandon Aiyuk this year, let Debo walk next year, and then address the offensive line next year? So that's a really good question as far as the Niners team building strategy. And when you look at the cap situation for San Francisco, they're not in a great spot next year. They are over the cap next year. And while they have a lot of cap space currently, things are a little bit hairy as far as their cap situation when you look ahead into the future. So I'm going to pull up the Niners cap numbers right now per over the cap. And San Francisco is currently 6th with $31.4 million in cap space. But in 2025, they are currently 30th as they are $38.9 million over the cap. Now, San Francisco can roll over the cap space from this year to next year. You also have to imagine, given the gaining popularity of the NFL, the salary cap is going to continue to rise, so that will alleviate things to a certain degree. And then there are ways to massage the cap. You can give out contract extensions. You can give out guaranteed money. You can restructure deals. Players can take pay cuts. You can cut players. You can trade players. But either way, I still think the Niners are going to have to make some difficult decisions down the road with some of the marquee, highly paid veterans who are currently on this team right now. And I just think that this year in 2024, and I've kind of maintained this, is going to be the quote-unquote last dance for San Francisco, because they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. Hopefully they pay Brandon Aiyuk. And as the team gets a little bit older, the financial situation is a little bit of a question mark here, and the Niners are going to have to reset at least to a certain degree. This past offseason, we already saw one of those decisions made by releasing Arik Armstead, a multi-time team captain, a player widely respected by the fan base, the organization, in the locker room, Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. And in that wide receiver room, look at what San Francisco has done. They drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round. Later in the draft, they took Jacob Cowing. They extended Jauan Jennings. And if they extend Brandon Aiyuk, you would have to imagine Aiyuk, Cowing, Pearsall, Jennings. Those are 4 wide receivers who are for sure going to run it back in 2025. Where does that leave Deebo Samuel? Deebo Samuel's financial situation is also very interesting here, and I can pull up his cap numbers because it wouldn't make sense and never made sense for the Niners to move on from Deebo this year. If he was a pre-June 1 cut, there would have been $26.4 million in dead money, $2.1 million in cap savings. Next year, pre-June 1, $15 million in dead money, $9 million in cap savings. But if the Niners were to move on from him next year, $6 million in dead money, $17.5 million in cap savings. So that would make some sense. And then there's the lack of guaranteed money that comes into play as part of the deal that Deebo signed, where the Niners wouldn't have to eat all of that cash. So I think it's possible that the Niners could sign Aiyuk, let Deebo walk next year by cutting him or trading him, and you're still in a really good spot with that wide receiver group, because the wide receiver room right now might be the deepest in the entire NFL. And of course, that could allow you to have some financial capital to address the offensive line. You could extend Aaron Banks. You could draft a right tackle. Dominic Pooney steps in at right guard, and we'll see what happens at center. Could Drake Nugent, as a UDFA this year, take over for Jake Brendel, and then you save some money by letting Jake Brendel go? Again, so many reasons and ways to free up some cap space if you're the Niners. No Santana, $2 super chat. If Brandon Aiyuk does not sign, where does he end up? Well, on the Pivot podcast last week, Aiyuk said himself, when he was asked, if you didn't come back to the Niners, where would you go? Where would you be traded? He said, the Washington Commanders, to play with that guy, and he pointed to Jaden Daniels, who he's best friends with, talks to every day. They played with one another at Arizona State. And then he also mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aiyuk early this offseason tweeted directly at Mike Tomlin, and they've been going heavy after wide receivers because they have George Pickens. They have Roman Wilson, who they drafted, who's more of a slot guy. They're looking for an outside boundary wide receiver after they traded away Deontay Johnson. So I look at the Commanders and the Steelers as two teams who could be in the market for Aiyuk because he said as much. Tanyan Zhu with this one. So do you think that the franchise is setting Aiyuk up just to get us to say he can go so that they don't have to pay him? I see what you're saying. It's always important to control the narrative, to do some damage control, to maybe put some leaks out to the media so that they make it seem as a situation as one thing or another, so that the fan base could kind of side with you and you could do damage control by saying, we wanted Aiyuk, we offered him a deal, but he was asking for too much. We simply couldn't afford him any longer. We really tried to sign Brandon Aiyuk. We said we wanted him back. We wanted him as a member of this organization, but he wasn't willing to come off that number, and because of that, we had to move on. I think the Niners really do value Aiyuk. They want him around, but they want him around at his price. And if Aiyuk is asking for $30 million per year, considering the Niners run the football a lot, and they spread the football around with all of the weapons on this team, they might not be able to afford or want to pay a wide receiver $30 million per year who's going to make $70, $80, $90 million in guaranteed money when they know that it's a run-centric offense and they have a lot of marquee players on the offensive side of the ball and a lot of mouths to feed. Jesse Wade, why not just sign Justin Simmons to solidify the safety position, rather use the future capital? If I'm the Niners, I would look at Justin Simmons as a viable free agent target, and he's probably the best player left on the market. I know he's on the wrong side of 30, but he was a second-team All-Pro last year. He's still playing at a really high level. He's a four-time second-team All-Pro in this league. He leads the NFL in interceptions since he was drafted by Denver a few years ago. He's a multi-time team captain. He's very respected. He's played in Vic Fangio style of defenses. He can master the Seattle scheme as well. He's that ball hawk who could play deep center field safety, who can really take care of things on the back end as far as coverage goes. And then you can utilize Jair Brown and Talanoa Hufanga in versatile ways, which maximizes their abilities as well-rounded players who like to make plays around the line of scrimmage, play a little hybrid linebacker. They like to blitz the quarterback a little bit, get active play against the run, and that's fine because then you know you have Justin Simmons on that back end. Right now, you have Jair Brown, Talanoa Hufanga as your starting safeties, but Hufanga's coming off the torn ACL. As your backups right now, you have Malik Mustafa, who you drafted, but is a rookie, and then you have George Odom, solid special teamer, one of the best special teamers in the NFL, in fact, but as a coverage safety, there's a reason he's a special teamer, right? So I would make that position group better. I would make it deeper. Justin Simmons is going to come at an affordable rate. According to a lot of the chatter, he wants to go to a team where he can win after not being able to win with Denver. Niners seem like a really good destination for him. Trace Lucero. Jake Moody made some mistakes in the Super Bowl and in games like the Browns game, but he looked good in the playoffs and hasn't had much experience. Will he get better, or should we trade him? I'm going to just say right from the jump, you're not going to trade Jake Moody because he's not going to have much of a market. If you do, it would be for a late-round pick. But I'm actually high on Jake Moody going into year two. Has a big leg, hit some clutch kicks last year. I was able to see some mental fortitude from the kid after a really, really shaky preseason in which he missed chip shots. He got iced by the fraud Josh McDaniels, who got fired by the Raiders several weeks later and not looking good at all. He had a couple of really big kicks throughout the regular season and in the playoffs. And I know that he missed that kick against the Browns that would have given the Niners the win and a 13th win potentially in the regular season. He had the extra point blocked, which cost the Niners certainly and could have won them the game. But Jake Moody was also 60 of 61 on extra points. He was 21 of 25 on field goals. In the Super Bowl, he drilled 2 50-plus yard kicks. So I know that he got the extra point blocked, and that was costly, right? He was also really clutch by knocking through those 2 field goals. So I liked the big leg. He was very clutch at Michigan. I liked how he mentally rebounded and was able to have some mental fortitude, which you need as a kicker. I'm willing to ride it out with him going into year 2, and with more experience, things can slow down and he can get a little bit better. Make sure you subscribe to us here on the San Francisco 49ers Report so that you could be a part of our mailbag segments. I always like chopping it up with the faithful here on the show. Super Chat San Francisco. Angelo. All right, I did say I would shotgun. So I owe a shotgun for Angelo. And what'd you say you were doing for 200, Chip?
I owe a boot.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man.
King Javier in the building saying AB bang. Timothy Lil World Johnson, AB bang bang. Yeah. You want to give me a little happy dad. If there are any lemon limes, I will take that. In the meantime, it's 4th of July, Independence Day, America, F yeah. Time to take a sip out of the Freedom Funnel here. So 3 segs down. Glad everybody is here hanging out here with us on this 4th of July edition of the 49ers Report. And we'll get that shotgun. Chip will get his beer boot ready. What is everybody doing today for 4th of July? Let me know in the chat. I'll give you some shout outs here. Yeah, cold's fine. Yep. Appreciate it. Oh, man, that's going to be ice cold. What's everybody doing? King Javier said nothing. Jesse Wade, I appreciate the live. Just got me through my workout. Let's go. What were you doing for the workout? I did a little run, some pull-ups, body weight stuff this morning. King Javier, happy 4th of July to the Niners family. Timon, watching fireworks on Saturday. Cool. Skid Markey working in Alaska. Oil rig. Drill, baby, drill. That's gritty right there. I love grit. Michael O'Donnell, hey, back on chat. First time to get to following the Niners this offseason. What's up, man? Welcome back. The dreaded one said he's chilling with the fam. Love that. Jesse Wade, 2 mile run and shoulders. Okay, a little cardio, a little lift. Taking any supplements? A little creatine, a little protein, a little BCAAs? What you got? I've been heavy into the supplement game of late. On top of my running streak, been lifting a lot more, trying to get swole. All right, here's my shotgun for the people. Samuel said, my old ass is studying for a certification right now, not progressing right now either. What are you doing? Is there any way that we can help? Michael O'Donnell, do you think our offensive line will hold up this year? They have to. 3/5 of it, I don't love it. Now, I do think that the Niners can get better along the offensive line internally by simply reshuffling the offensive line. I talked about that on yesterday's show. You put John Feliciano at center or Drake Nugent at center, John Feliciano at right guard, or John Feliciano takes over at center. You put Dominic Pooney at right guard. Now, Colton McKivitz is still going to be a problem regardless. See, M. Patel, Feliciano at center, Pooney at right guard. You know the show. Jesse Wade said, no sups. Just in my mid-40s, want to stay in shape. Men's League Hoops. Nice. We got a men's league here at Chat Sports. I think we're 2-4 this season. What'd you say? 2-6? Oh, even worse. Even worse. Okay. We got a win coming up on Monday. Although I missed last week with a pulled hamstring that I re-aggravated. So, trying to get back. King Javier, are you in the Raiders studio? I actually am in the Raiders studio. Studio A. How did you know?
Yeah, how did you know that?
That's crazy. Yeah, Mitch is usually in Studio A. I did say that a little bit earlier, but I don't know if Mitch usually says we're in Studio A or not. But yes, Mitch usually goes live here. King Javier. Knowing the Chat Sports flow.
It's a real one.
All right. Shotgun here. This one was for Angelo and Timothy Little World Johnson.
Let's
go. And then Chip will do his stuff.
I got my boot right over there.
He's got his beer boot coming up for the 200.
Ready to go.
Here we go.
Easy money. Taking it down like it's nothing. It's freezing cold, too.
Oh.
It's freezing cold.
That is cold. That is cold. Sergio! Can I ask you a question? Are you getting very nervous about the Niners this year? No. The only thing I'd be nervous about, I love the Niners team. I love their prospects of competing in the NFC, their opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl. The only thing I worry about is their health. They've now played 4 NFC championship games in 5 years. That's a lot of football with a little rest. And they played in 3 NFC titles and 1 Super Bowl. And then in the last 5 years, those 4 NFC titles and the 2 Super Bowls. So it's a lot of football. They lost their strength and conditioning coach. So that's what I'm concerned about, if anything. Timothy, big Stella guy. When we get our watch parties going, dude, in the fall, I'm going to drink a Stella for you. All right, Chip, you want to take down that beer boot? And then we'll hop on out of here. Looks like the Buddy Hield trade is complete. All right. Wow. All right, here's Chip. Everybody type Chip in the chat. 3 beers, 1 boot. He's finna take it down. It's been a minute. Timothy, it's a Stella. It's a Stella in there. Or Stellas, I should say. It's Stellas in there. Timon said Chip Chug. Do you think that Shanahan will be on the hot seat if they don't win a Super Bowl? No. Just signed an extension. Still one of the best coaches in the NFL. Keep in mind, Andy Reid went 14 years in Philadelphia without winning a Super Bowl before he was let go. And had some ugly seasons mixed in there. Kyle Shanahan took the job in 2017. Timothy said, go Chip. Stellas. He got the bubble down. Now he's getting the rest down. Like it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing but work.
Let's go.
It ain't nothing but work. USA. Let's go. America! F yeah! Jesse Wade, I gotta say, you have moved 100% into my top 3 for creators. You were on my Mount Rushmore with Brad and Larry. I salute you. My man, I salute you. That's high praise right there. Love Brad, SF Niners. Love Krug. I'm flying to Florida tomorrow morning, but I will be on with Krug after that at 1:45 p.m. Eastern, 10:45 a.m. Pacific, so be on the lookout for that. Lord Buddy Bear, wasn't expecting anyone to go live today. Happy 4th, Niner gang. Dude, you got to be built different out on these chat sports streets. That's just what it is. LBB, Lord Buddy Bear. Tanyan said he's frozen the beer away. That's good stuff. All right, we got some NBA breaking news that Chip and I have to go attend to, as it is the heat of NBA free agency. So we're about to do that right now. Thanks to everybody for watching the show here today. Glad that we could spend 4th of July together. I wouldn't rather hang out with anybody else on 4th of July than the faithful. Even though it's a holiday weekend, still content to come every single day. So be on the lookout for that. Turn on those noties. Make sure you subscribe. Training camp getting underway July 23rd. That's when we can start talking some actual football. Preseason right after that, regular season. Hopefully a long playoff run awaits as well. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the faithful, have a great and safe 4th of July. Eat some good food, have some good drinks, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.